Right, folks, welcome back to the podcast. We're joined again by Vanessa, the girl on a bike. How you doing, Vanessa?
Hey, I'm all good. Thanks so much for having me on.
No problem at all. No worries. Now, you're very, very busy at the moment. Wow, you haven't been on for is it about a year since you came on the last time? I think it's
It
about a
feels like
year.
it's been too long. I've missed you, so I'm glad I'm back.
Likewise. What have you been up to?
It's been a little bit manic. Lots of riding motorbikes, lots
Hmm.
of putting myself in scenarios where I question my life choices. I've definitely been in some scenarios in deserts. I don't think I'd done the Tunisia Desert Challenge when we last
You
spoke.
hadn't? No, no.
No. So yeah, there's definitely some stories from that. I've sort of upped my game a little bit when it comes to the racing side of things, which is exciting and terrifying. And I've got some big challenges this year. Yeah, I've been riding motorbikes a fair amount. I've been working a lot and enjoying it. I have maybe not seen my husband as much as maybe I would like to be, but he's continuing to be very supportive. Yeah, it's a big
Now,
question.
like, to give it some perspective, I think since the last time you came on here, you just moved into a new house, so you're getting a new house, dealing with the move, and getting the new house up and running. You were talking about the Dakar and sort of prepping, ready to go and start the process of that. I don't think you'd even done. I don't think you'd even done the Romaniacs. I'm pretty sure you hadn't. Was it the Roman? Yeah, the Romaniacs. Is that the one with the? It's got like the wooden ramp that you have to go right round at the end. I don't think you'd even done that yet when you came on the last one, or maybe you'd just
Well, I
done it.
must have done that because that was 2 years ago, and I
Okay,
moved house in May. A year and a half ago, I moved house.
okay. So you must have just done it
So
then.
I
When you came
so
on.
I'd done Romaniacs, but then I must have not done Tunisia.
No, you hadn't. I don't think
And
Tunisia was even like publicly on the radar yet, because I don't think we spoke about that.
no, so last year on the racing side, things blew up a lot. So I guess when we last spoke, I'd never even done a desert rally.
No, I don't think you
So
had.
for
No.
anyone who's listening who's not really aware of what desert rally means, it's like full suicide mode, go into the desert on your own on a motorcycle in sand that basically wants your bike to lie down in all the time, following a piece of paper and symbols and compass bearings for navigation in upwards of 46, 52 degrees heat. It's disgusting and amazing all at the same time.
Whereabouts was it? Where was it?
So I've done a few now. My first one was in Qatar in the Middle East,
Uh-huh.
where the peak
Yeah,
riding temperature was 52 degrees. There was
yeah.
one guy who was stood next to a support vehicle out in the desert whose trainer's soles melted off. I mean, it was ridiculous. I think 46% of the competitors finished that race. So
Wow.
I'm pretty chuffed that I did finish that race. That was my first ever time in the desert, first time in dunes, first time doing road book, first time on a rally bike, all of it in one go. So
Well,
some of
you
my
like a
friends,
challenge.
yeah, some of my friends have recently tagged me as this. My hashtag is that escalated, and I'm starting to realize that quite a lot of the areas in my life that escalated kind of seems to fit because I just say yes, and I think once you've had a period in life where you are bedbound and you're stuck in bed and you have that
Yeah.
kind of like dark days and pain, the fact that I am not in bed now, okay, I live and manage with pain, but my goodness, I just want to grab life by the horns and try and make the most of every day. So I just say yes to everything, which means everything seems to escalate.
Absolutely.
So I did that, and then I went and did Rally de Morocco, which is actually one of the Dakar kind of qualifying round sort
Uh-huh.
of level rallies. That was pretty tough. And then after I did that, I sort of thought, oh, I think I've got a little bit of this rally virus addiction and I want to do more. And the next big one I did was the Tunisia Desert Challenge, which was absolutely brutal. I'm the first female that's ever entered and the first female that's ever finished. So there's a bit of a spoiler alert that I did finish, but we can go into some of the stories of that if you'd like to in a
Yeah,
moment.
definitely.
I mean, helicopters were involved, nights in the sand dunes with a campfire. Sounds romantic. It's not when you're on your own. In the middle
Proper
of the
adventure,
desert.
though. Proper
Yeah,
adventure.
proper adventure.
Is that the one you did on the Triumph?
No. So I then did
It's another
Thousand
one.
Dunas, another one, on a Triumph Tiger 900. I basically got asked by Triumph whether I'd be up for the challenge. And so I kind of became the first person to finish on a standard adventure bike. Now, there are definitely adventure bikes doing that race, like even Cervantes, the Spanish enduro champion, Dakar finisher. He did it on a Tiger 900. But it resembled a Tiger 900. Let's just say that was, he was on a factory bike. John Pedero did do it on a standard Harley Davidson Pan America though, and he did the expert category. Absolute legend. I mean, he had a really hard time, but my goodness, his riding, I've got so much respect. And I did it, little me, not a Dakar rider, not a 10 times pro enduro person, just full suicide mode, did it on a Tiger. Turns out tigers like lying down in the desert. Quite a lot. They're quite heavy.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, well, what am I trying to say here? You're going to drop the bike, aren't you? Like anyone at any level is going to drop the bike doing something like that. So it's not like you could get through it without dropping a bike.
Oh, he got dropped. And what's so silly is most of them, I think I only had one kind of off that was at speed where I was just trying to go around this corner in this desert. Sorry, obviously it was in the desert, in this big riverbed. And I was like, I can do this corner at speed. And the front end just ducked and rolled so easily because of the weight of an adventure bike. All the weight is on the front of the bike. On an enduro bike or a rally bike, your weight back de-weights the front wheel and you can ride with your pegs. But my body weight on a bike that weighs 4 times my weight with a heavy front end, I couldn't get the front wheel light enough. And so it just ducked and rolled so easily. And anyway, I had this corner and I was like, I've got this.
No, I don't.
No, I didn't. And you can see the aftermath of that in my YouTube video. There's all of these stories are all on my YouTube. But all of the rest of the drops were pretty much like slow motion. Oh, it's going. And he'd get to that point where the weight kicks in and it would be just like, lying down.
I hate sand. I went away with Toro, Lyndon down in Toro Adventure, and we did a recce trip a few years ago to Morocco, and we were right down in Merzouga. Ali, have you been to Ali's sort of roadhouse hotel type place with a pool in the middle, right on the edge of the desert?
I've never done Morocco with luxury. I've only ever done it in a bivouac in a tent in a rally. Yeah. So one day maybe I should do it for like a holiday instead of a beasting.
Well, we'd done the camel ride out into the Sahara. You go out towards the Algerian desert and camping with the Bedouins in the tents and stuff. And then we'd come back, and before we headed off, Lyndon was like, look, I want some promo shots of the GSs out in the dunes. So he said, come on, we'll just be a little bit. Off we go. So all right, it's already like 46 degrees. So we headed off, about 5 of us, in fully loaded GSs. I've never, ever ridden like that before. So we headed off into the sand dunes. You just imagine what happened. It was just like I dropped the bike and then everyone else dropped bikes. And we tried to push on to get to these sand dunes and literally just dug the GSs in. And then it was now like 48 degrees and we're all kitted out in adventure kit, trying to pick up laden GSs. It's like, this isn't a good idea. So I'm going back this year again. So that should be fun.
I love how you say this wasn't a good idea, but I'm going back.
Oh, absolutely. Same spirit as you. You've got to, haven't you? I mean,
oh yeah.
We only get one chance at this, as far as we're aware. So make the most of it. Get on out there. I need to give you a little caveat. I am home alone at the moment, and I'm waiting on a package being picked up. So if I suddenly dash off, it's because I've got to give the package to the postie. Okay. I bought one of these external hard drives. And it doesn't work. I nearly lost a whole load of footage. I was away filming at the weekend, transferred it all across to this hard drive, and went to start editing, and the drive's dud. It was like, no! But thankfully, I managed to recover most of the footage. So, Jesus.
Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Right, listen, there are loads of questions. Loads. We've got loads on Patreon. There's loads on Instagram. There's some over on Facebook as well. So we've got loads to talk about, but you know the story here. You've been here before. If we start going through the questions, I'm sure they will start putting us down paths of what to talk about. Okay, right. First off, folks, we'll head to the client over on Patreon. So it's patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Charlie Callard. He says, evening all and a very happy new year to you both. Oh, this is because this original post was when you were supposed to be on the last time, which was quite, well, right after New Year, wasn't it?
Sorry.
So a couple of questions. Sorry, don't worry about it. So a couple of questions. What advice would you give to anyone wanting to get into off-road riding? Any tips or tricks you could pass on?
Don't be afraid to be a newbie. Every single person out there on an off-road bike started as a complete Bambi, flailing around, feeling like an idiot, and that's totally fine. And it's how you start. Just start. Make sure you get good kit, because when you fall off, it's not an if, it's when you fall off off-road. You want to make sure that it's just whoops, get back up. And if you're not wearing the right kit, it will be an ouch and it will be a time off the bike. So make sure you're wearing the right kit. Now, kit can be expensive. Bikes can be expensive. There are loads of places around the world, particularly in the UK, where you can go and hire all the kit, like borrow it, use the bikes, and get a taster. There are different types of off-road riding. You've got trials riding, enduro, motocross, adventure. There's lots of different types. And so you might not necessarily know which type of off-road riding you want to try doing. And these days enable you to go and have a dabble without having to invest in all of the expense of buying a bike and a trailer and all the kit. You can just go, right, let's go to Inch Perfect Trials and do a day's trials riding, or go and ride with someone like Desert Rose Racing. They've got a fleet of beaters, or you can go ride Hondas at Dave Thorpe's. You also get the idea of being able to try different brands. You can try a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke. You can try a 250 versus a 350, and basically work out what feels good for you without having to commit quite so much. So I'd say trying to do one of those is a great way to start. They're really good present ideas. If anyone is like, what can I buy you for your birthday? Always helps too.
Yeah, very good idea.
Yeah, so I'd say that.
In regards to kit, what would you say is like your basic level of kit to go off-roading? Obviously for road, you need a lid, and I would really suggest you wear some gloves as the absolute bare minimum, you know, if you don't want to put anything else on. Helmet and gloves. For off-road, what would you say is, right, that's you ready to rumble?
So as someone that has 2 reconstructed body parts from an accident on a bicycle, and I'm very aware of quite how much the body can hurt and want to avoid that, and wouldn't want to tell anybody else to go out riding in not much. People can ride in a helmet with boots and gloves. I don't recommend it, because when you have an off and you hit your elbow or hurt your knee, you're probably going to break it. So it's a case of how much do you value preventative costs versus long-term costs. If you come off and let's say doing hard enduro, I do hard enduro or I do rallies, I always wear my full knee frames. My knee frames were what, £500-600? It's a lot of money, but more times than I can count, those knee frames have saved my knee. The cost to me, if I had done my knee because I wasn't wearing those knee frames, would be far more than £500 or £600. Like, true. You know, the cost of being stuck in bed, the surgery, the medical fees, the rehabilitation, you know, the time not being able to work, all that kind of stuff. So you've got to always balance in your head. If I go out and do it and not wear the right kit, am I going to regret not spending 300 quid on the right body armor?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going, oh, it'll be fine. It might be fine, but it might not be. So for me, I'd say the bare minimum is body armor, which is going to give you chest, back, shoulder, elbow protection. It's not like you need the road abrasion off-road. It's more like the impact armor, and you get quite lightweight ones. So I wear the Alpine Stars one, and find it really comfortable. Obviously, you want good gloves, and I wear knee frames. You can get some pretty good articulated knee pads. And I did start my off-road riding in knee pads, not knee frames. And once I started to be doing a little bit more speed and more technical terrain, I went, nah, I need to protect my body. A lot of people that you meet don't start wearing frames until they've done their knee. And then they wear their knee frames because they have to. And I kind of went, you know what? I'm going to wear the frames. So hopefully then I don't ever have to wear the frames. If that makes any sense.
No,
yeah. Helmet and boots. So I just went on a little bit of a kit rant.
No, I totally agree with you. You know, I kind of, as soon as I said it, I thought I'm probably giving out the wrong message here. I don't suggest you just wear helmet and gloves on the bike. Kit up for sure. I remember I always used to wear a back protector when I was, the Jigsaw Power Ranger twat. And I remember one time we were out in Germany. We were going out for an afternoon blast. We're going to like a hotel to watch the MotoGP, and then we're going to go for a quick spin and home. And I just thought, it's hot. I'll not bother wearing my back protector. I crashed, flew off a mountain, broke my back. And I remember just thinking, the one bloody time I didn't wear the back protector, that happened. You're like, ugh. So as you said, better to be safe than sorry, for sure. Yeah. Charlie also says, mince pies, custard or with cream?
Oh, 0. I don't eat sugar.
At all?
No, I don't eat processed sugar. So I eat ketchup and I drink alcohol, but I don't exactly like drink ketchup, so it doesn't count. But yeah, I don't eat cake or sugar or puddings or anything like that. When I was bedbound after the accident, I kind of went, how do I stay a size 8 with abs when I'm stuck in bed? And I kind of thought, let's just do a lifestyle change. And I cut out sugar. And then I quickly realized that I feel really good without sugar. So I don't eat sugar now. So really boring answer. Can I have some cheese instead?
No, fair one. What, cheese with... Oh, yeah, no mince pie because it's got sugar in it. No, I'll give you that. Cheese. I think cheese is a happy equal. Happy days. Right, there you go, Charlie. He says, keeping shiny side up each, and I'm looking forward to 2023's antics. Yeah, me too, man. Next one, Mad Leprechaun. Mart, how you doing, pal? Why the change from 2 to 4 wheels? Is it just the challenge? Now, do you want to explain this one?
Yes, so actually starts the mind-blowing, it's a bit terrifying. That escalated. So I'm doing the UK rally series in a Land Rover Bowler rally car.
Nice.
Mental. Now, you say why the change? It's not a change. I am not leaving motorbikes. It's an add-on side story. I'm going to be continuing to do all the motorbike stuff. I'm just also going to have a dabble on 4 wheels as well. Now, the honest answer to why is there's a few arms to it. First of all, when I was a teenager, I was literally obsessed with bowlers. Like Bowler Wildcats was like wallpaper in my room. I've been obsessed with them since I was teeny. I've always been a petrol head. I still remember the first time I ever heard a Bowler Wildcat go past. This was back when it was the old Defender with the massive V8. Oh, it just gives me like orgasmic shivers thinking about that noise. So when Bowler and I started this conversation, it was just an immediate like, hell yes, I'm game, I'm in, let's do this. And it's kind of escalated from me doing one race to the fact that I'm now going to do the whole UK series. But the other arm of it is that I'm not stupid with my body. I know that I'm pushing my body a lot more than maybe it should be being pushed based on my past. I know that I'm going to continue to throw myself into extreme motorsport riding and desert races and all this kind of stuff. But I also know that my body's not going to keep doing it forever. There's a lot of parallels from motorbikes to cars, like the fact that I can navigate on a motorbike in the desert, in sand, on my own, and do all that stuff on my own. When you get into a car and you are just the navigator or you are the driver and you've got someone telling you where to go, there's huge like experience transfers, and being in a car is going to help me on a motorbike. So I just think it's another arm to my journey and my story. It's something else to do. And I blinking love bowlers and rallies and motorsports. So why not?
I mean, you can't argue with that. I think in this day and age, I think that's a very clever tact to take, to add another string to your bow. So you're not just, you're anything but one-dimensional, but as you said, so you're not just motorbike focused. You can go down the car route. Would you be thinking about some sort of, in the future, like a presenter type role within another either YouTube show or a traditional TV based show? Is that something that you would think about?
I would be very, very open to that. If the opportunity came up, I'd probably bite that hand off and then regret it, because then I'd be like, sorry, I bit your hand off. Do you want it back? I chewed it. But yeah, I can have the job.
Are you happy to relinquish control. I've discussed this a couple of times actually on recent podcasts. As I've realized I am a control freak. I didn't know that really until particularly when I did the TV show a couple of seasons ago. And I really wasn't comfortable in being placed in somebody else's hands to that extent. I was like, no, this just isn't for me. It's not what I want to be doing. Are you happy with that? Like with someone else producing content that you're in, or like I want full control of everything?
I think there's a balance to be found. So I've increasingly been doing presenting work, which has been fantastic, and it's one of the ways that I'm able to fund the fact that I'm writing. And I've done presenting work with Michelin, Tang Tools, Oxford Products, and a few others. But I'm me, and if you don't want me as your presenter, then I'm not the right person for the job. You're not going to get me coming in there and doing a script. If I don't agree with what's being said, or I don't like the product or any of that stuff, I'm not saying it. Yeah. And so I think if a TV or bigger opportunity came about, I'd have to have some serious conversations about what they're wanting me to be. I'm not going to suddenly be a monkey for them.
Because you spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort building your brand, don't you? And like I'm fiercely protective of my brand. So you don't want to associate your brand with for me, the thought of associating my sort of brand and then in turn associating my following, my community with something which potentially might not have the same values, quality as what I want. I'm just like, no, I can't do that. But it's a difficult one though, isn't it? Because when that dream opportunity comes knocking on the door, you're like, oh, okay, right, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If they suddenly wanted me to be like a cowgirl in a movie and play a totally different person that's not even me, I'd be totally game for that. Because if I wasn't a biker, I would be a cowgirl.
Would you?
I do that, but that's acting, so that would be totally different, right?
Oh, is this another role that you're looking at? Hollywood?
No, I'm not. I just want to be a cowgirl, and I'm just trying to find out ways to be a cowgirl, okay? I just want to be on the horse and have all my cows and like learn to lasso.
Well, if there's any ranchers out there and you're looking for another hand, there you are. Drop Vanessa a line.
I can't promise me behaved, but I'll give it my energy.
Mark, thanks very much for your question, mate. I know your family is going through some stuff at the moment, mate, so my thoughts are with you. Right, next one, Mark Fulcher. I am definitely not asking Mark's question because he asked the same question to the Average Bikers in a Cave lads who came in and filled your space when you had to pull out the last time. So I'm definitely not asking you this question because I know what it's all about. If you want to know what it's about, listen to the Average Bikers in a Cave episode. Mark, you're a bad man. Next question, Johnny Hackinson. Good evening to you both. I've always enjoyed your videos, Vanessa, so thank you for showing us some of the races you've been to. My question for Vanessa, how can we get Bruce into the Romaniacs Red Bull race for 2024? You won't. I'm not good enough. Question for me, could we set it up as a clan meeting trip and get a bunch of people to join in the Atom category? What's the Atom category?
Oh, okay, yeah, you might make Atom. So Atom is like the very easiest category there is. It's kind of like a long trail ride.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we could maybe try something like that, I suppose. Maybe. People, I've made a rod for my own back here because I've made a big deal about off-roading. I don't hate it. It's not my first choice. I don't know what I'm doing. So I would just prefer naturally to go tarmac, road or track because I feel comfortable there. But I do quite enjoy it. I've started to do a bit more. I'm not any good at it, but I'm starting to enjoy it and I see the appeal. But I know the chances of getting injured are way higher doing off-road than they are for me because my skill level's not there. And this is my job and I can't afford to spanner myself going down some track or trail. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to stop me doing it every now and then, but I'm not going to be doing loads and loads of off-roady type stuff.
That's fair. Well, maybe we need to plan some kind of teapot, girl on a bike, off-road training adventure thing.
Okay, right. We could do something like that. If you can find a time for it, we could do something like that.
Yeah.
I've
I
got a
can
couple of
make
things
time
off
for
road planned this
entertaining
year.
stuff at any time. I think that would be a good laugh. So,
Yeah, I'll certainly test the kit, I think. Right, cheers to that, Johnny. He says, keep up the good work. Thanks, pal. Sorry to interrupt, folks. I will be quick. It is sponsor shout-out time. We are sponsored, as always, by Ultimate Add-ons. Bit of a blurb to read out for them. Ultimate Add-ons are the premium manufacturer of mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for motorcycles, with a kit for any bike and a proven track record of creating products that keep your devices safe, secure, and easily accessible. The Ultimate Add-ons product range is ideal for any rider, from the commuter to the round-the-world adventurer. Why shell out on an expensive GPS system when you could use your smartphone, keeping it charged and within easy reach to take photos of your travels at the same time? Ultimate Add-ons waterproof, shockproof and dustproof tough cases are available for all flagship smartphone models and are designed by riders for riders. Find out why Ride Magazine gives Ultimate Add-ons their coveted Best Buy certification. Keep riding this winter with Ultimate Add-ons. It's all about the journey. Now, folks, if you head to ultimateaddons.com and use the code TeapotOne10, you'll get 10% off. I've got an affiliate link for them as well, which I'll leave down below. So if you listen to the podcast, check out the show notes. If you're watching the vid, have a look at the vid description. And obviously with the affiliate, I also make a slight commission off that. Costs you nothing more. So a massive thanks to Ultimate Add-ons. We are also sponsored by, as always, the Influencer Store. Influencer Store handle all my merch. You can see up there, I've got loads of hats, there's hoodies, there's all sorts of things. So if you head to TeapotOne.com, head to the shop, you can check out all the merchandise, and that is all handled by the folks over at the Influencer Store. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design, and there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. Again, there'll be links down below, folks. Lastly, a big shout out to all of you over in the clan, over on Patreon. As always, folks, I keep saying this, but it is true. I literally could not do this full time without your support over there. So a huge, heartfelt thank you from me. If you'd like to go that extra mile and help support both the podcast and the main Teapot One vid channel, then head to patreon.com/Teapot One. Again, links down below. A massive thanks to each and every one of you who's listening or watching the podcast. I love doing the podcast. I really do. And I love getting all the feedback from you, from all the various different guests that we've had. If you could be so kind, on whatever platform it is that you're listening or watching the podcast, if you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify in particular, you can rate the podcast on there. Obviously, a 5-star rating goes a long way to help boost the podcast up through the ranks. And if you're watching the video, just give it a like, give it a comment, and both video and audio, if you share that with everyone that you think might be interested, that would be a massive help. All right, folks, let's get back to it. Next one, Paul Jacques. You must be inspiring others to ride, so who do you look to for inspiration? Good question.
I'll be really brutally honest in that I don't have much time to watch anything. I don't have a television, and I feel like I'm constantly chasing my tail, or whatever that phrase is, spinning plates. I think I tried to just merge two things.
You did, but we get what you mean.
You get what you mean. And so I don't really actually watch too much, which is sad because it's quite fun watching stuff. But I definitely look to people like Billy Bolt. Not because I ever think I could ever ride like him. My goodness, his riding is insane. But I just think it grounds you in that I never like to be the best rider. And when I'm out riding and picking people that I'm riding with, I always like to ride with people that are better than me. Not because it makes me feel shit about how bad I am at riding, but because that's the best way for me to become a better rider. Absolutely. Because you're always going to get tips from them. You're going to get the reality check of, gosh, I'm actually not that good. I thought I was doing all right. I got a lot to learn, and people like Billy just make it look so magical and absolutely incredible. And then there's also some, some of the female riders like Leah Sands doing the Dakar, those kind of girls that are just absolutely kicking butt and proving that girls can do it all too is just incredible. Meg's Brapp in the States, she's another one. Her riding skill and the progression over the last few years has been amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say you don't watch your telly. I kind of the same, although I've started watching a bit more in the evenings, like, when you sit down and have your dinner, sort of at 5, 6-ish or whatever. And then before I know it, it's like 2 hours later and I'm just watching utter drivel. I don't think there's anything decent on the telly. That's the problem. But I used to watch a load of YouTube and now I'm full-time at it. I rarely watch any YouTube anymore, to be honest. And when I do, it's not often bike related. I tend to I still watch the old favourites, Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, people like that. They're your traditional sort of vlog style vids.
I think the challenge is that there's a lot of time people look at what we're up to, what I'm doing, for example, and like I live a dream lifestyle, right? Obviously, it's got its drawbacks. The fact that I'm only doing this largely because of the accident started it, and I live and manage the pain of that and everything. But the reality is, I get to do some incredible things. But in order to do those incredible things, I work more than anyone I've ever met in my life.
Yeah,
like I'm working 7 days a week. Most of all of those days, I don't get many times off or downtime. If I do stop and sit down with a coffee, almost guaranteed I'm on my phone working. I will reply to every single message that anyone ever sends me. I work a lot and I'm not complaining. It's my choice and I love what I do and I love every single message anyone ever sends me. So don't stop sending them to me because you think, oh no, then she won't stop working. It's not working to me. It's a lifestyle and I feel like it's just something I enjoy doing. But it means that I'm so engrossed in that I don't have the capacity then just to sit and watch stuff.
Yeah. I find like if I do find myself sat doing something else, it's always on my mind. It's like it starts at the back of your head going, you've got this to do, you've got that to do, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And those voices just get more and more and louder before you're like, I'm not even enjoying doing whatever this is. Let's just go and get back and, as you say, get on your phone, get on the computer, whatever it is. But again, we're living the dream, aren't we? We're both living our prospective dreams, the dream jobs that you work hard to attain and to keep. So, you can't complain. Okay, right. Cheers for that one, Paul. Next one, Nick Bennett. I met Vanessa at ABR last year, 2022. I recognised her from about 50 metres and said, Vanessa, and she said, hi, how are you doing? We walked and cracked on for a good 15 minutes like old friends. An amazing lady. It's really nice to meet someone you think is up there on a pedestal, but really they are so down to earth. If I had a question for her, it would be, do you speak to every guy you meet at a festival like that, or is it just me? Seriously, though, I'd like to ask Vanessa, I know why you do what you do, but how do you keep so motivated? What's the secret?
Can I ignore the first question?
Yes. It's a little bit creepy, Nick. Yeah.
No, I'm just a flirt. It's fine. Okay, how do I stay so motivated? Unfortunately, having my past makes me incredibly grateful for every day I have now. And it sounds really cliche, but like my world was turned upside down. And every day I'm alive now and I'm able to get up and do stuff is just a gift every day. How do I stay so motivated? I don't. I'm a normal human. I have ups and downs. I think one of the things, so I do these school programs and I do corporate speaking. I do lots of motivational speaking stuff now. And one of the things I talk about is your mindset and the fact that you've got 3 choices of these mindsets. Now, I'm not going to go into it because then why would you book me to come and speak at your organization or have me in your school? But these mindsets are really important to start to become more aware of and recognize them. I fully have many moments, many days where my energy is low. I have self-hate. I have imposter syndrome. I look in the mirror, not like what I see. All of that stuff is completely normal. But there's an element of just realizing that that's normal and that it's okay, not beating yourself up over it, but just staying focused on your goals. I think goal setting is the biggest thing for me that motivates me. So right now I have a really big race coming up in April, the biggest I've ever done, second biggest rally raid in the world after the Dakar. Will I make the finish line? We will see. But I know that every day right now, my actions are going to change the outcome of that race. And so having that massive goal changes my motivation every day now. You know, I get to the end of the day, I've just got back from New Zealand. We were on the bikes for 9-10 hours every day, get to the hotel, absolutely knackered. I'd obviously still have to, you know, process content, speak to all my lovely followers, deal with cameras and video files, get things ready for the next day, have dinner, get to bed at a reasonable time, which is normally about 1 a.m. But I needed to go for a run or do a YouTube video actually, I do watch YouTube. I watch workout videos on YouTube, do a YouTube video for fitness or do a whole load of push-ups and squats, whatever. And for me, my priority is knowing that I've set my goal and I'm locked on to doing the best I can in that race. And so today I know that I actually can make the time to spend half an hour doing some fizz. Because when I'm stuck in those sand dunes with my rally bike upside down cursing, the fitness that I can make today, I'll be grateful for then. And at least then, when I am stuck in their dunes, I won't have the same self-hate of, well, you could have done something, but you didn't. Why didn't you get fit 2 months ago when you had the power? So it's also that self-reflection of knowing that I'm taking control of my life and doing what I can do. And I know that for my mental health, I'm very self-critical. So at least if I do what I can do in my power, it helps me not be able to have as much of a leg to stand on in my own self-critique, I suppose.
And it's amazing. I mean, this sounds rich coming from me being a fat bugger, I know. But I've started again on my rowing. Like every year in January, I start rowing. And I normally get to about May and then it just dies a death. So I'm back at it again now. But it is amazing how much of a positive impact just doing 20 minutes of fizz has on your mental outlook on life and your mental attitude. Because towards the end of last year, I felt terrible. I felt so bad. I thought, I actually think I might have something seriously wrong with me here. You know, I had no energy. I had no drive for anything. I was in pain constantly. I just felt like a decrepit, fat old man, you know. And within a week of just rowing, just doing 20 minutes every day, God, it was amazing. It was like, you've got energy, you feel knackered, obviously, but you've got energy, if you know what I mean. You know, like I was drained because I'd actually... Absolutely.
Crack.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, your body has a warmth and a buzz around it where you're like, I've done something. I've achieved something today. So I cannot recommend that enough for anyone out there. Just get your ass off the seat, wherever it is you are, and just do 10, 20 minutes. Even if you're walking to the shops, just do something. Anyway,
even if right now, while you're listening to this, you just stop, drop and give me 20 push-ups. Do it right now. Actually, I should challenge you.
Maybe 10. Maybe 10 to begin.
All right.
No, that's right. That is totally right. Absolutely. Yeah. Just it's the beauty of the podcast, really, isn't it? You can do it no matter where you are, what you're doing. You can listen along to it. Anyway, right. Okay. We'll get off that. Next one, Matt Road Designs. Vanessa, can you please take Bruce off-road as a pillion to show him how it's supposed to be done? Pillion off-road. You wouldn't want me as pillion anyway, but off-road, no. No.
I don't know. I think he wants us both dead. Is this someone that was trying to kill us? I mean,
mind you, on sand, it'll get your front up, won't it? You'll get the front wheel out the sand.
Really?
Yeah, the whole way. Colonel Bullen, another great guest, Bruce. Vanessa, I hope you don't mind me asking, how tall are you and what is your inside... Well, where's this going? What is your inside leg? I know some people use their height as an excuse to ride certain bikes or to do more off-road, but you are truly inspirational.
Oh, thank you. So I'm 169 centimeters and have a 69 centimeter inside leg. So the reason he's asking that is that your height isn't actually the most relevant measurement for how tall a seat height is, because some people have longer bodies and longer legs and proportions are different. So it's actually your inside leg from your like lady parts to the ground that is important of your seat height. And most people when they meet me go, oh, you're not as big as I thought you were. And I'm like, thanks.
Well, you're quite tall.
I mean, I'm tall. I'm not short,
Mhm.
but I think because I ride a lot of big bikes, people think I'm taller than I am.
Yeah, there's nothing to you,
bikes,
but you're quite tall. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of bikes that, I mean, I can't reach the ground on both sides, but when you can't reach the ground on both sides, you just work on the skills to compensate. So working on your balance, your clutch, your throttle control, so that you don't need to be able to reach the ground really helps you.
You make me sick when you do that balance, when you're balancing on like the trials bikes. Just, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do that. Good God.
Practice.
Wow. Yeah. Are you still doing? Are you still that press up bar that you have for stability? Are you still doing that?
You know what? I hurt my elbow last year, and I'm having a load of grip with my elbow, so I haven't used it for a good few months now. I'm just trying to give my elbow a little bit of a break. Pulled a tendon or something in it, so I haven't used it for a while.
You're trying to give it a break after everything that you've done in the last year. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, just that one.
I've cut one thing out, okay? I'm just not using that.
Well done. Well done. Cheers to that one, Colonel. Next one, ATCJ5, Stimpy, you idiot. God, some people have got weird names, haven't they? Vanessa, I do not know if you know, but someone you know has been on it's a dig at me, has been on a wee little trip that I'm sure he will talk about. Not mentioned it yet, actually. If you were to do such a trip, would you take Bruce as a passenger in the sidecar? So a big trip around the world. Would you go with me in the sidecar and I'm the passenger?
I mean, I've got to be stuck with you going around the world for like 6 months.
Right, so yeah. 6 months. Cool.
How long does it take to go around the world? A month? 3 months?
To be honest, yeah, you could.
You could.
I think you could as well.
Sidecar,
yeah, you could. You could. You could do it. I think Nick Sanders has done it in 18 days or 19 days.
That doesn't sound fun.
No, I mean, he's a lunatic. He literally didn't sleep he would ride solid for 3 days and sleep on his
That's just not fun. I'd take you in the sidecar with me, whether I'd go around the world or not. Why don't we just go and do like a random sidecar adventure somewhere?
Speak to the sidecar guys. Get a euro. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
It's an option.
I'd be game.
That's something to think about. Yeah.
As long as you hold a wheel of cheese.
A wheel of cheese? Why?
I don't know. It reminds me of Wallace and Gromit. Don't they have a wheel of cheese?
Wow.
No.
Well, yeah, I suppose he does. Yeah. Well, we can chat about that. We can discuss that. Question for both. What kind of sandwich do you like? From sunny San Diego, have a great show. Wow. Favorite sandwich? Cheese, I'm assuming.
Oh my God. I can see where that came from. Oh dear. So kind of sandwich. That's really hard. I don't eat many sandwiches. If I only had one sandwich, what would I have? It's got to be moist. It's got to have a lot of I don't like a dry sandwich.
Yeah.
Maybe like beef and horseradish with some lettuce. Or mayonnaise, so it's not dry.
Gotcha. I do like a bit of beef and horseradish. Yeah. Bacon and egg. Have to be bacon and egg brown sauce for me.
But the egg goes in. Hang on, but that's not a sandwich. That's like
of course it's a sandwich.
Bun. Oh, but
still, it's a breakfast sandwich.
I'd be tricked because bacon and egg. Yeah, but the egg goes all
You're having beef. Beef's a Sunday dinner. You're having that in a sandwich.
All right.
I think I'd be happy with the beef and you'd be happy with the bacon. So we could have either, and then that's it. Job done.
Okay.
Thanks for that one, Stimpy. Cheers. Next one, Darren Phillips. Vanessa, a little sneaky, but 2 questions. First question is, how do you stay so positive in more situations than most?
Because there's always something to be grateful for. I remember lying in bed after the accident, and actually it really started the first time I went out on an adventure with hubby on the Harley, and it was like 6 miles from our house, but I was out of bed and I realized that, all I wanted to do is go kite surfing and not have pain and go back to the life I used to have. But actually, in that moment, I had a lot of stuff I could be grateful for. There was a beautiful sunset. I was there with my husband. I was alive, had some courgette and steak on the barbecue. And it kind of made me realize that actually in the worst of moments, there's always something to be focused on that is positive. And then the real thing is that your emotions are directly linked to what you think about. If you focus on negative stuff in your situation, your emotions are going to be negative. If you go, you know what, they're there, but let's just not focus on those because I don't need to focus on those. What's the positive? There's going to be something. Always there's going to be something positive. You focus on the positive things, suddenly you've got a whole load of gratitude and you've got some good emotions inside. And I think it's just a shift in your mental perspective. It's not like I don't have negative things around me. I just choose to focus on the positive things because the positive things brings me smile and an uplift. The negative things are still there, but the perspective has changed.
Yeah. It's the glass half full, glass half empty, isn't it? Perspective on things.
Yeah, but it's a choice. And it's not like, oh, well, you're so lucky you always focus on the positive. I choose to work on my mental control and my conscious thought processes to focus on the positives. And it takes time, it takes work, it takes continually reminding yourself, stop it. Why are you focusing on the negatives?
Yeah.
Like, this is still good. It takes time.
Yeah. I think in general, I'm a very positive person. I like to think that I definitely am always looking on the good side of everything. But I definitely have times, it's like little waves that come in sometimes. Sometimes you just wake up with a cob on. I wake up some days and I'm just an arsehole. I'm just in a bad mood. And that can last the morning, but it can last a week. It can last quite a while sometimes with me. And you're like, I'm conscious. I know that I'm in that mindset. And you can, I can see how people with depression can end up in really bad places because it's like you're on this little hill where you're in a bad mood, so you sort of react badly and you think badly to everything that's out there. And that then just magnifies it and magnifies it and magnifies it. And before you know it, this little gradual hill, all of a sudden you're at this precipice. And I could see how people end up in really bad places because it is hard, isn't it? It is hard to put the brakes on sometimes and just go, whoa, hang on a minute. Right, let's have a little look about where we are here, what's going on, take a step back, have a deep breath. But that, as I said, that sometimes can take, well, for me, it can take days to put those brakes on and just turn things around and go, right, okay, let's get back to where we are. So I've got some very close friends that they are at the extreme of like depression, sadly, at the moment. You know, they're going through some really tough times. And I can't begin to imagine what they're going through. But to the same extent, I think I've got a little inkling towards it. You know, when you deal with people who are in those places in their life, you know, I've had people who've tried to end it, and it's a really hard thing for everyone round about to deal with it. You know, because it's not just them that gets affected by stuff like that. So. Yeah, I really do sympathise with people who can't, who find it really hard to have that positive outlook on life. As you said, it is a choice, isn't it? It's a choice, but it's very hard for some people to make that choice and have that mindset. So,
I mean, I was diagnosed with depression along with a whole load of other things after the accident, and I can relate pretty heavily, but I think one thing I'd probably say is almost like fake it till you make it, which sounds crazy, but it's the ability. I find the world is full of energies. If you put out negative energy, guarantee you get it back. A really simple example is you go into a shop and you're rude to checkout girl. Guarantee she's going to be rude back to you, or you're grumpy or unhappy. If you glare at someone, they're going to glare back at you. So you're going to continually reinforce and get more of whatever that energy is. And so if you go, you know what, I'm in a really mood right now. I'm feeling miserable. I hate, whatever all these emotions are. but I'm not going to project that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go into that shop and put on a brave face, put my game face. I'm going to smile. I'm going to be friendly. Almost guaranteed you're going to get some positive energy back at you, even though you faked it. But that
Mm-hmm.
positive energy that came back to you will be real. And it will just be a tiny bit of positive energy going into you. You're going to walk back out and you're probably going to feel how you were before because you faked it. But you would have still got this tiny little boost from that positive encounter that you just made because you chose to put out the positive energy. And I don't know, I think the fake it till you make it, it's not about trying to put on a brave face and lie and tell the world that you're fine when you're not. It's really important to be honest with the people around you and ask for help when you need that help.
Absolutely, yeah.
But sometimes actually just going, you know what, I'm not going to have a bad day. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to put my makeup on, especially works for you. I'm going to, I'm going to make today a better day. Immediately, you'll be downstairs having breakfast, you'll be dressed, you'll have your makeup on, and you're going to be in a way better place than you've just sat in the bed moping around wearing your pajamas. It's a really big topic. It's not like I can suddenly say how I managed to get out of it, but that glass half full and trying to take ownership of your own thought process is huge.
I used to listen to people say things like that and just think piffle, just bollocks. But it's absolutely true. It's totally true, isn't it? It's like my reaction. We used to get taught about it in the old bill for conflict resolution and stuff. I can't remember what they call it. Is it Pandora's box or something? My reaction affects your reaction, which affects my reaction, which affects your reaction. It's absolutely true. I had Lyndon Poskett on here. And this sort of topic came up in conversation, and he basically said, "Look, people are going to think I'm crazy, but the universe listens to you." He said, "If you put out negative thoughts about things, that's what you're going to get back." Because I think I was talking about at the time my channel felt like it was stalling a little bit, and I was like, things were tough at that point, and I just thought, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this full time for too much longer. And he was like, no, don't say that. He says, don't put that out there because the universe is listening. You just need to be positive about it. And he said, just look for those opportunities, be open to them, and they'll come. And it's true. Yeah. I don't know how it works, but it's true. Anyway, we could probably chat about that forever, couldn't we?
Yeah, we can.
Darren's got another question. Second question. After your accident, did you ever think your job, career, lifestyle would change into what you are doing and experiencing currently in your life?
No chance. Not at all. No. Never saw it coming. It's just a crazy journey that life takes you on.
It's literally like, I remember when you chatted about this the first time you came on, it was almost like an epiphanal, that's a word, isn't it? Epiphanal. An epiphanal moment where you were just lying in the bed and were like, I want to ride a motorbike. Can I have a motorbike? Is it literally just like that?
Yep, it was. And it was bedbound with really bad mental health that I started my Instagram account. And it's all just been a journey and it's escalated. Even if you came to me as simple as like 4 months ago and said, "Oh, are you going to do a UK rally series in a Bowler Wildcat?" I'd be like, "What? Like, come on. How would that ever happen?" And you go back 6 years and say, "Are you going to be, running your own business and riding motorbikes?" Like, no way would I have seen it coming. But I'm a yes person and I've just thrown myself into it. I remember the day when I quit my day job. So I was an account director in marketing. I don't think I slept for 3 days from the adrenaline of quitting my day job. I didn't earn a penny from riding motorbikes or anything. But I just went, so what's going to happen? I'll have to get a job again. And I was quite lucky. I saved up some money to enable me to have like a buffer that if I didn't earn any money for a year, like just about being able to eat, we'd survive just. But you never know unless you jump in and try.
Absolutely.
And the universe listens. And I obviously jumped in and told the universe, let's do this.
You see them, I see this all the time. The more people I have these sort of conversations with on here about, people that have lived your life, they've lived their lives, they've they've gone for it. Whatever it is, whether that's rowing across the Atlantic, riding around the world, whatever personal achievement they've attained. Everyone has the same mindset. Everyone has just made that decision to take that step and go for it. And I think that is probably the hardest thing, isn't it? It's overcoming that fear to set off on a journey, to quit your job and take that next step. It's just taking that first step in whatever direction it is that you want to take.
Yeah. Yeah. I
right.
agree.
Paul Jacques again. What do you want to try next on two wheels? You said you've got something coming up this year.
So I've obviously got some more desert racing. I would really like to try speedway flat track.
Oh, wow.
Because I think I don't want to do it long term, but for anyone who follows me, you'll know that I get on loads of different types of bikes. I've done a track day, I do trials riding, road riding, all the different types of motorcycles. And I think every single different type of motorcycle riding helps you with your overall skill base when you get on other motorbikes. And flat track speedway just looks ridiculous. So I'd really like to try and do at least a day or a couple of days of that this year. That's something I want to try.
Oh, wow. Have you made any contacts there yet?
No.
I'm sure somebody dropped me either a DM or an email about it last year, I think it was, about doing it. And it was one of them that I was like, yeah, I definitely fancy that. And I put it aside to come back to.
Okay, maybe we could do it together.
Well, I totally forgot about it till you mentioned it. And I'm like, shit, where is that? Where is that message? So I'll try and hunt it down. If I can find it, then I'll either send it your way or, maybe we could do something like that. That would be quite cool. I used to watch Speedway as a kid when I was wee. Obviously, I grew up in the northeast of Scotland, but my mum's family were all, they're all from Peckham, South London. So we used to come down at like Easter and Christmas and stuff. And my uncle was a crazy Speedway fan. So he used to drag me and my cousin and we'd go and watch all the Speedway. I remember the smell of the place and the noise. Loved it. It was amazing. Right, next one, Rebecca Christie. Evening both. Vanessa, can I just say thank you? You've been my biggest motivation for getting my head back into biking. I've had a wobbly couple of years struggling with anxiety as a result of menopause, but your positive attitude has been inspiring. Since meeting you at ABR last year, I've lost 2 stone, got fitter, and turned my anxiety around to positive thoughts. I feel like my 20-year-old self again. Awesome. Nice one, Rebecca. So, question to you
I'm really
both.
proud of you. That's awesome.
Fantastic. Rebecca's brilliant. She comes to all the clan meets and stuff. Awesome. So, question to you both. On a motorcycle trip, what can't you do without? Everything essential like gear, tools, etc. goes without saying, but what else always travels with you? For example, I never go anywhere without my Thor's hammer necklace.
Probably my Cardo intercom, because I'm obsessed with listening to music, and my phone. There's not really any comforts. Oh, my protein powder. No, that's probably something people would say. So I have a collagen and whey protein powder that I have a scoop of it with whatever my breakfast is every single morning. And that comes with me anywhere I go in the world. So I'm not sure of the comfort, but it's like fueling my body properly.
I get this question quite a bit, and I always say my phone, but I almost consider my phone just like one of those essentials that I would take anyway now, because like my phone's my navigation. Yeah. It's the communication. It's everything now for me. So what would be a non-essential that I would take? I always take. Sheesh.
Mine's protein powder.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything. Well, obviously I don't have anything like that. Do I take anything that is... I suppose it's all my filming kit, but for me, that's essential. I need all that.
No, that's just kit you take.
I got a Cardo as well, but I just use that because I chat bollocks with people when I'm riding.
I like how you're looking around your room.
I'm frantically looking for inspiration here.
What about your beard detangling cream?
Do you know what? There you go. Thank you. I always have a beard comb because... believe it or not, this gets really entangled and matted.
I can't imagine.
It does.
I have to plait mine to go on a motorbike, so I can't imagine you unless you plait it.
I could plait this now, actually. Maybe I won't. But yeah, it's just a nice feeling. I imagine when you have hair and you've got long hair at the end of a ride, if you're in the shower, it's quite nice just to demat your hair, detangle your hair. Well, the beard's kind of similar because it gets... Can't believe I just said that. Oh my God, I'm going to get ripped apart.
Eat
Yeah, probably
alive,
a beard
people.
comb. Yeah, I know, yeah. God, never going to live that down, am I? Thanks, Rebecca. Cheers. See you in the Isle of Man soon. Mackham 1959. Vanessa, are you a pint of beer or glass of wine type of girl? Just so I know what to buy you when we meet at the ABR. You're going to have to watch your back at the ABR.
Yeah, so I would say gin and tonic or a glass of white wine. But on a really hot day when you've been like working in the garden or something and it's like the end of day, you've got the bonfire going, a good cider, pint of cider would do me well too. So
cider will just put me
sat
on my
by the
arse.
fire, a whiskey or a rum.
Oh yeah,
Don't water it down with any of this sugary stuff. Straight, no rocks.
Oh, you're my kind of person. Absolutely straight. Yes. I'm getting right into my whiskies now, actually. I've had whiskey a few times on this podcast and it's got quite jovial. Yeah. A lot of fun. Right, cheers for that one, Mackham. Last one on Patreon. How are you for time? That's an hour so far.
I'm okay.
You're okay? Righto.
Yeah.
Last one on Patreon. John Powell. Hi, both. I'm asking this as the husband of a woman that was in your last ABR woman's photo and with a 125 riding daughter hoping to complete her A2 test this summer. Many friends are surprised that I encourage my daughter to ride. If you were asked to put together an advert for mainstream TV to try and promote biking for women, who from the motorcycling world, both female and male, would you want in it with you?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know.
Love the fact that you're encouraging your daughter and your wife to ride. And yeah, sod the haters. They just don't realize how fun it is. Okay, to the question. That's really tough.
Yeah, it is.
Who would I want to be in the advert? Could I be in the advert? Am I allowed to say me?
What, I mean, I'm not just saying this because you're on this, but you'd be like one of the first ones I would think to put in there because you are sort of, well, you're one of the most recognisable, certainly in the UK, female bikers out there. So... yeah, it would be you.
You know what? I'd probably want to find people that nobody knows, like just normal families, women, kids, husbands, daughters, to show that just normal people can be out there riding. So I often think, the people that are out there, like Leah Sands out there doing the Dakar, absolutely incredible. But to the average person looking at her level of riding, it's very difficult to be like, well, maybe I could ride on the road because it's so on such an extreme end. So I'd almost want to just try and normalize the fact that everyday regular normal people are doing it and having a great time. I think there would be an emphasis on like the safety equipment. So there sure as hell wouldn't be any ponytails on pillion seats. And there sure wouldn't be anyone in like Converse trainers or, the right kit for the slide, not the ride, etc. And I'd just be about showing out how fun it is.
Do you follow Piston Pinup on Instagram?
No.
Marta, she's a lovely lass. She's a Portuguese lass, and I think it was last year. She basically, I can't remember if she gave up her job or if she was in a position to take a break from her job, but she just hit the road and she like lives and works in the UK, but she just jumped on her bike. I think it was a Triumph, and she just headed off on a road trip around Europe and just documented it. She had like 6 months, 7, 8 months, something like that on the road. Just had a great time, just out riding. So it was really cool to follow her journeys through social media, through Instagram and stuff like that, as to places that she'd been. But I think she's back working now, but she's having the old post-trip blues, where you're just like, oh God, I've got another adventure in me. I don't know what to do next. This isn't it, kind of thing. And then were you following where was she from? Was she German? The lady who was riding an electric bike all down West Africa. She basically did the length of Africa. Did you follow that? No, on an electric bike. Incredible journey that she did.
Wow,
she's now finished about a month or 2 months ago. That was amazing. I'm trying to get her on the podcast actually because it was amazing to watch her. She's turning up at these villages in proper the risk of sounding like an ignorant twat, but like jungle Africa, like
Yeah.
straw hut type village with
With an electric
jungle
plug
overhead.
going.
Yeah. And just walking up to places like asking, where can I charge? Because this cake bike had a couple of interchangeable batteries on it, and she had to carry big transponders with her to deal with the different sort of quality of electric that you'll get. But she managed it the
That's
whole way.
super cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
awesome. Yeah, nice one. Right, just that, John. That is all the Patreon questions. Now, we've got quite a few on Instagram and a few on Facebook. How long have you got?
I'm good.
You good? Right, okay.
Good.
If you start running out of time, let me know and we can narrow the questions down a bit.
Okay.
Right. So we'll head across to Instagram now, TeapotOne Insta, and obviously I'll leave all of Vanessa's social links down below. First one, Teeter Tower. Ask if I can move into her garage. Plenty of room. Plenty of room for a bed, etc. Okay, you've got a fan there. Cycle 3778. I put a question last time and you never asked it, so not asking again. Sorry, I get this all the time on Instagram and on Facebook.
Oh.
I'm sorry, folks. I have to go through the Patreon lot first because they're facilitating me doing this for a living. So I'll always do them first. Brian Kuda, 3112. Does she have a problem with groupies? Watch him. Do you get a lot of unwanted attention? You don't need to go into details.
No, I did get a penis photo 2 days ago.
Oh, we all get them.
I haven't had, I think I've only had 7 in 4 years, which isn't...
You shouldn't have said that. You know what's coming your way now.
Please don't send me penis photos.
At least make them funny if you're going to do them. Is that not something that you experienced then?
No, I feel very grateful for the fact that, people that follow me, people that engage in my content seem to put out a lot of good energy and a lot of love and kindness. And I'm very grateful for that. I had one troll about a year and a bit ago, which was pretty brutal, upsetting. Turned out he was actually quite a known person in UK ATV riding, which made it even worse. But anyway, that's all resolved now. But thankfully, I'm pretty grateful for the love and the energy people give me in comments and messages. So keep it up and thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna possibly open myself up here, but you don't play on the fact that you're a woman. You're a good-looking woman in your content. I do see some people on socials who, they're really selling the sexual side of it, and then start complaining about the unwanted attention that they get from it. And part of me just goes, when you're putting the goods out on offer to the extent some do, you kind of got to expect that, but that also, it doesn't make it right that it happens. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
No, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I think the UK, the global motorcycle industry needs women to just be bikers. And I think that there's a lot of women out there that kill the credibility for other women by not doing it appropriately. Getting on a bike in a mini dress and heels, I have absolutely no time for that. Just go away, please. And those kind of posts get abuse. I've seen it in the comments, but I mean, people can choose to post whatever they like. They're fully entitled to, and if it makes them feel good doing that, then go for it. I think I'm glad. I quite appreciate your comment that you feel like I don't do that, and I'm a biker. I mean, I don't even bother wiping my face before I do a video. I look a mess most of the time, covered in sweat and mud. And
you must. Maybe you don't get it face to face type thing, but I would have thought there would be. I've heard blokes talk about you, and they talk about you, and you can tell they're really jealous about, what. But beneath what they're saying is jealousy, because, to be brutally honest, before I knew you, I kind of was thinking to myself, oh god, it's another, another Instagram woman, blah blah blah, playing all this. But then I met you, and I actually looked at what you'd achieved and what you do and how hard you're working, and it's like you can't deny any of this. You're a far better rider across most spectrums of biking than the vast majority of us out there, and you can't criticize anything that you've done because you're doing it all yourself. It's you that's riding the bike. It's you that's entering these competitions. It's you that is finishing some of these incredibly hard rallies, which the vast majority of us out there, male, female, whatever, would never even qualify for, let alone compete in and finish. So, I think you in particular deserve the sort of acclaim that you now get, and this position that you now have as a very established biker. Forget woman biker. You're a very established biker within this community that we have, and you can't criticize that for me. And if I ever hear that, I'm just like, look at what she does. Look at what she's achieved. It's impressive.
Well, thank you. That's like really kind of you to say.
But I mean, I think you've got to give credit where credit's due, because you're doing it. You're out there doing it. You're living the dream, but you are definitely you're not only promoting biking and the biking sort of way of life and this positive mental attitude. You're not just promoting that to women. You're promoting it to everybody out there. How many blokes have we gone through? Most of the questions here have been through blokes, haven't they? But every single one of them, almost to a T, is like, you're inspiring me, you're inspiring my family, my wife, my daughter, all this sort of stuff. So fantastic. Awesome. That's a fantastic thing to do. Well done. Right. I'll stop blowing smoke up your arse. Next one. Crazy Bear 29. Question. You go to the local pizza takeaway. You or a margarita, I think he means, are you a margarita pizza and a garlic bread with cheese and tomato? How many, this is quite hard to read. You order, I think he means, a margarita pizza and a garlic bread with cheese and tomato. How many pizzas have you got? Oh, you're trying to say is a garlic bread with cheese and tomato, is that...
It's not a pizza, that's garlic bread.
Yeah, even if it's got cheese and tomato on, it's still garlic bread.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I went to a pizza takeaway place because it's just like pure poison for your body.
Yeah.
I do eat pizza, but I'll get like a
decent
pizza and put my own stuff on it at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't call garlic bread a pizza if that was the question.
Yeah, I think that was the question. I think we got there eventually. Yeah, I agree with you. Garlic bread is not a pizza. Right, throw your leg over. Big question. What's the best thing you've done in your whole life? Wow. Over to you.
You can't just like throw that over and then...
Yeah, over to you. I'll sit back for an hour.
Best thing I've ever done in my whole life. Not give up.
Brilliant. Yep, never give up. Absolutely.
I've not given up a million times over. Keep fighting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lord Lycra, done the easy stuff in New Zealand, now for something completely different. There's no question there. I take it he's referring to your recent trip to New Zealand. Go on, tell us all about that.
That was amazing. So it was a Harley Davidson tour with TeapotOne, everything around the whole of the South Island. I think it was about 3,000 miles. It's absolutely incredible. Got really lucky with the weather. I don't know if you've seen in the news. We got in the first day that the airports were open after Auckland was underwater, and left the morning that the hurricane hit. We did get stranded in a pretty hillbilly little town for 24 hours with landslides and 40 millimeter of rain in an afternoon.
Wow.
Like, mental. But yeah, New Zealand's absolutely spectacular. Scenery is just so beautiful. It was really, really cool. I was on the Road Glide Special, which is possibly my new favorite Harley Davidson. Absolutely. I loved it. so comfortable, loads of power, really practical. Yeah, it was ace. It was a really good trip. I suppose the question of like, I'm now for something different is probably because I'm about to do the bowler race this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm actually off to Las Vegas on Tuesday to the Mint 400 Desert Rally, where I'm not racing, I'll be watching. But yeah, that escalated.
Blimey. Wow. You're living the dream, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Road glide. I have never heard the road glide described as really practical. Do tell. Come on.
How is it not practical?
Because it's about the size of an oil tanker. It's massive.
378 kilos, but you don't feel that weight. Like the
No,
difference between a 200 kilo bike and a 400 kilo bike, I mean, if you're trying to pull it out of a parking space, you're going to feel it. Once you're riding, you don't feel that weight. You can ping it around corners. It's got shed load of power. I think it's like 93 horsepower. Like, it's lively. You've got your luggage space. You can take a pillion on the back, super comfortable, huge fairing, massive speakers. So you're like boogieing as you're riding along. Freaking loved that bike. And it looked good.
They make sense, don't they? Those Harleys make sense once you're riding them. So I remember that was the first Harley I ever rode, was one of them. Like Mike Noble at Guildford Harley. He said, "Come, you've been on at me for years to ride Harleys." Then it just never happened. So then I just turned up and he said, "Right, before we even chat, take that out." Just threw me the keys and he said, "Take that out and it should make sense by the time we come back." And that's what I did. And I sort of came back with a big...
That was a big bike to put you on for your first one. But yeah. I think for me, I couldn't see it being practical for like bobbing around in the UK. But for touring, that bike makes so much sense. So I'm actually riding in Romania in August with TeapotOne again. I'm obsessed with his trip, so I'm doing another one. It'll be my 5th one with him. And I'm desperately trying to get my hands on a road glide to do it on that again. Otherwise, I take my Pan America, but I don't really want... the road glide was just so good! Because if I'm not going off-road, I don't need the Pan America. Like, the Pan America's lovely on the road, but that road glide was just dreamy.
Yeah. Whereabouts in Romania are you going, do you know?
Oh, the Trans-Bulgarian Highway, all of the top hits, basically. I'll start in Istanbul and then this big loop round and back again.
Oh, awesome. I love Romania. It's just, there's some amazing roads there. Absolutely amazing. The last time I was there, I was so lucky because it was they hadn't opened the Transvogarisen yet. But they shut the second half of it, the half that goes up into the mountains. So you could still do the lower half where the reservoir is and stuff. So I was basically winging it and just seeing if I could. I'd been told that sometimes you can ride by the snow gates and just go. So I thought, well, I'll just try that and see.
Yeah.
And on my way up there to that section at the lower half, I passed about 5 bears, like wild bear. It was absolutely amazing. Got them on camera and everything. Just amazing. They're just sat at the side of the roads. The mum bear with the cubs. They're just sat at the side of the road in the morning sun, just warming up. It's crazy to see.
Amazing. Okay, don't break down on that road. Noted.
Do you know that the first time I saw the bear, it was a juvenile bear just as I was coming through a tunnel before the reservoir, and he was literally like with his arms over the barrier at the side of the road, just watching the traffic go by. And I sort of went by it and went, that was a bear. So I stopped and had a look. Thought, I'll go back. And I turned the bike round to go back. And then I was almost at him and then thought to myself, fucking bear. there's no bars. That's a bear. I was like, maybe I shouldn't get too close. So I turned round and thought, that's the end of that then. And yeah, literally, God, a couple of miles up the road, there was a big mum bear with 3 cubs at the side of the road, and went by that one further down the road. Either. No, exactly, yeah. But it was amazing to see them in the wild. It's such an awesome thing to see. But yeah, Romania was just beautiful. Really nice people, great roads, love it. Very jealous. You'll love that. Right, who was that? That was Lord Lycra. Gavin Fraser, 39. Just in case you're not using the old question, so here we go. I hope you both are keeping well, and as I said to Joey Evans, you both are a big inspiration to me, and you both helped me through my tough times when I reached out to you both. But my question is, Vanessa, is there any big bikes out there you don't make look awesome, and do you have a favourite adventure bike? Are there any bikes out there you don't make look awesome? Okay, so I'm assuming, are there any bikes you've not got on with? I think that's what
Uh,
he's saying.
Nah, I just feel like all modern bikes pretty much do what they're meant to do. It's very personal as to which one you
Yeah.
feel good on or which one's best for the sort of riding you want to do. But none of the modern bikes are shit in any way. They're just different variations and different compromises of what your focus point is. I haven't ridden the Ducati Desert X. I haven't done anything decent on a Ducati Multistrada, for example. They're all bikes that I'd love to do a little bit more time on. I have done a fair amount on a GS, but I've never really properly pushed it off-road. Stuff like that. There's loads more that I haven't done or tried that I could potentially and hope to do in the future.
And he says, have you got a favourite adventure bike?
It would probably be the Tiger 900 Rally Pro that I did 1,000 Units on. It's amazing that I didn't fall out of love with it, being in sand dunes on it. But I think for me, for my body and the sort of riding that I like to focus on, the 900 is like the ideal balance between weight, size, power, electrics, etc. And the lightweightness of it being a 900 compared to, the slightly bigger 1100, 1250s, etc. gives me a lot more confidence to hit the technical stuff. And it's still got more power than you really need and all the, technical comforts. So I'd probably say that one.
Yeah. That must have been a PR dream for Triumph. That because you rode that bike down there and then did the competition on it, didn't you? So it sort of showed the bike for everything that it's meant for.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
I've not ridden the new 900. I think, was it the 8? It was the 800 before, wasn't it? Yeah,
definitely
I remember riding the 800.
Big up on the 800. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
it's a beautiful bike.
Okay. Next one, Honda Atas. Amazing. She's so inspirational. A true role model. Respect. Awesome. No question. That's just all they're saying. Sometimes riding. If she could go back to a particular place or riding experience at a moment in time, what would it be?
Ooh. Ooh. How do you make Vanessa stop talking? Give her a really hard I'm gravitating towards dunes in Tunisia, and it nearly killed me, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But if I could just go back there and relive it again and just have more moments to just reflect on how incredible where I was, what I was doing, as opposed to just a pure survival, that would be really cool. Because I feel like I was there and I lived it and I remember it brutally, but I was in pure survival kind of mode and not full like suck up, appreciate mode.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I get you. I think a similar, not similar because it pales into insignificance, but I think probably one of the toughest times I've spent on a bike was riding in Laos when I ended up on it's like an 80-mile section of road where it was no road. They hadn't built the road yet, so it was just mud and rock and just nothing. And it was probably the hardest sort of 2 days of my biking life. But I look back and it's like that almost made the entire trip. That experience of just being in the middle of nowhere on that bike, on those type of roads and finishing it. But I just didn't document it enough because you do go into survival, don't you? You're just like, I've got to get through this. I haven't got the time. I haven't got the energy to set cameras up and talk to cameras. And I've got a little bit of footage, but not much. But yeah.
So often the hardest things that we go through in life are the things that are the most satisfying by the end. Like the sense of achievement you get for fighting on and pushing through things is like more legal crack. Talk about legal crack again.
No, Joe Rogan actually, he says this quite a bit, that the hardest thing you've ever done is the hardest thing you've ever done. Whether that is, climbing Mount Everest or just getting out of bed that day, and getting out your house.
Yeah.
it's different for everybody, isn't it? But you get that sense of achievement when you push your own personal boundaries, whatever they may be, for sure. Right, okay. Richard Bell Point. Looking forward to this one. I'm hoping to one day go on a rally with Vanessa. She's a motorcycle off-road queen. Okay, no question, he's just saying that. Right, that's all the Instagram ones, and now we have some over on Facebook. Have you got time for them?
Yep.
Right, lovely. Thank you very much for that. Okay, across on Facebook. First one, the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast. Which is our favourite Trail and Adventure Motorbike podcast? You've just been on there with them, haven't you?
I have. It's a trick question, but I guess it's the Trail and Motorbike Podcast today.
Yeah, they never miss an opportunity to fly the flag. Good work, gents. Good work.
It was a good chat, actually. That podcast escalated.
They're a nice bunch of lads, aren't they?
And there were some really evil questions from some quite good friends of mine.
Oh, you just disappeared. Where have you gone? What's going
I'm
on
right
there?
here.
Sorry, my screen just went all funny. Right, you're back now. Lovely. Paul Bridge, fantastic woman. Enough said. Good on you, Paul. Nathan Turner, question to you both. Have you got that one memory of a trip with a fellow biking friend that when you call them and mention it, you both roar with laughter? From Saskatoon. Yeah, my mate Jimbo. When I first started riding, my mate Jimbo used to ride an R6, and I was on my Gixxer Thou, and I learned everything I knew about road riding off of him. And he is just one of these naturally talented road racer type people. He was just incredibly fast, and I used to try and keep up with him and stick behind him. You look back now and think about what you used to do on public roads, well out of order. You'd both go to jail for it. But we used to finish rides, and when you just sort of sit and look at each other and sort of giggle like a bunch of school kids because we're like, Jesus, we survived. And I remember I did the Nürburgring for the first time with him, and we'd both say to each other, we're just going to take it easy. We're just going to do a lot. Yeah, literally. First corner, I think a German guy came by us on a Gixxer Thou on the back wheel, and I just saw Jimbo. He shook his head, and then he just ducked down behind the bars, and off he went. And I was just like, well, I either hold on to him or try and hold on to him, or he's gone. And then I've got to read this track myself. So I was like, right, I just stuck behind him, and we finished this lap of the Nürburgring. And literally pulled to the side, didn't say a thing. We both just sort of sat there laughing for about 4 minutes. Crazy. So yeah, that Nürburgring with Jumbo.
Amazing. I probably have quite a few with different people, different friends. I've been really grateful to meet some incredible people around the world on my trips. I think one that makes me, like, the first one that came to mind was in Colombia just before Christmas, riding along with a friend who is now very much a friend. I met her on that trip, Annika from Australia. And there was this particular stretch of about 2 miles where, like, everything that could possibly try and take Annika out, who was in front of me, did. So, like, a dog ran out and she just about missed it. Then, like, a chicken flew across the road and she just about missed it. Next thing, a chicken came out of a tree and skimmed her head by about 20 centimeters. And I'm just behind, like, watching this chaos of, like, feathers and dogs. And then this old lady is walking along the side of the road, decides to walk across like it's a track in the middle of nowhere, decides to just turn across the road as she's hitting her, has this moment of like, oh, there's a motorbike. And so at this point, Annika's gone into diversion mode to go round behind her. Old lady thinks, oh, motorbike, to go back the other way.
Oh.
She ended up then going back the other way, clipping her with her wing mirror. And this isn't at fast speed. And this lady's just like, she starts laughing. I then come past and like slow down and wave, and she's absolutely fine. And then I think there was another bird, and it was like all within a mile. It was like some kind of Super Mario Kart in Colombia kind of thing. And so now, yeah, whenever a chicken comes into conversation, we're both just taken back to this, like,
Colombia.
Yeah, the chicken was so close to her head. I mean, yeah.
How'd you find Colombia, Dean? What was Colombia like to ride?
Absolutely incredible. Probably my second favorite country to ride in.
Great, isn't it?
Beautiful
Lovely
place.
people.
Incredible people. Yeah, there are places you don't go, but there's a hell of a lot of places you can go.
Yeah,
Beautiful place.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. I'd love to go back and spend more time in South America actually, and really explore
Mm.
down there. Right, next one. Cheers for that one, Nathan. Next one, Paul Bridge. Again, what got you into bikes and why such an adventure heart? Where did that come from?
I guess I grew up pretty active and outdoors. And I was a kid, my parents would properly tell me off if I said I was bored. You know, being bored is a lack of imagination to entertain yourself. Go find a stick or
Oh,
go
wow.
outside and build a tree house or something. Go on your bicycle. So I was always active. Our holidays every year would be going to Wales and boogie boarding and playing in the rock pools and climbing crags and bicycles and just really active. When I got to university is when I really discovered sports. I hated sports at school, like netball, lacrosse. Oh my God, don't even. Bleh. But when I got to university, I discovered snowboarding and skydiving and rock climbing and like more extreme ends of stuff. And I suppose it just kind of continued to escalate. The step into motorbikes. Initially, I was 20 when I lived in the Bahamas for a work placement at uni, and I needed a way to get around the island, couldn't afford a car. So I got this tiny little bike just to bum around on. But I didn't see myself as a biker. It was literally like a means of transport on the island for my spearfish and my fins and stuff. Came back to the UK, and I'm really whittling through the story because it's quite a journey. But after my accident, I was no longer able to do any of my sports. I couldn't cycle to work anymore. The commute was killing me. And I ended up just getting a little Suzuki Bandit 600 to commute to work, which having been diagnosed with fear of the road and, you know, nearly dying by being hit by a car. If you're not familiar with my story, check out our first podcast together from like 3 years ago as I first started.
Oh, that, must be,
Yeah, you can get more of the, you know, the background of my story from that. But the journey to where I am now as a motorbike rider is literally summed up by that escalated.
What an adventure.
It's just, I've kind of just been determined to prove to myself that I still can, prove to myself that my pain doesn't have to stop me, prove that, you know, the stereotype judgments of, you know, a little blonde girl with long eyelashes that are real, by the way. I can't pull them off. I don't get many comments about that anymore, but I used to get comments like, oh, take the fake eyelashes off. And I'm like, they're kind of stuck.
I get that about the beard.
Fake beard. Yeah, I've just been determined to get better and better at riding, and I've still got so much to learn. I still think I'm terrible at riding, but I'm not afraid to be terrible at riding, and I just won't give up. Like, you put me in a race, I'm not going to be there on the podium, but I'll fight until the end and do everything I can to make the finish line. And I think that's the big difference. I'm not afraid to put myself outside of my comfort zone. I don't even remember what the question was now, but I think maybe I answered it.
Yeah, you did. Why you got into bikes and why such an adventure heart? Where did it come from?
Yeah.
Interesting that. So you went to the Bahamas for your work placement at uni.
Yeah.
I ended up in an office in a block in Glasgow for mine. I did the wrong thing at uni. Absolutely. I do look back and just think it wasn't like uni for me. It wasn't wasted. I went there to do mechanical engineering, and I ended up getting my honours degree in civil engineering. I did a year at mechanical and basically didn't go, so had to transfer and do another one. But like I look back now, and as you said, all the opportunities that are open to you when you're at uni, you know, sports and clubs and societies and everything like that you can join. And I did none of it. I literally,
I did none of it. Maxed it.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that. I was a rugby boy, so I was playing a good level of rugby at the time. So when I got to uni, I just played for the uni and sort of tagged along to some of the Glasgow sides at the time. But I think for me, it was the whole social side that really enveloped me massively at uni. Because I started working the doors, and that was just such a different way of life to what I was. I think I'd been quite closeted growing up. You know, I wasn't really a party animal or anything growing up, and I was quite a straight A student, you know, really applied myself all through school. So when I got to uni and I'm away from home and all of a sudden I'm in that nightclub lifestyle, it was
Yeah.
just like, wow, forget all this. So yeah, that sent me down a different path for a while. But yeah, I do look back and think some wasted opportunities. But then, you know, I met my son's mum, I had
Life's
my
on a
son, and
journey.
absolutely, yeah, it just sends you down a different path, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right, second last one. Dave Andrews, just wanted to say thanks for the videos on YouTube. They're a real inspiration, and I've stolen a few of the Scottish routes for a ride in May. Oh, thanks very much, Dave. Cheers. Seriously, I spend more time watching your vids than real TV. Oh, yeah. I was wondering if you've been moonlighting as an umpire in SAS Who Dares Wins. Because of this, I used to have a SAS tash. Before I grew the beard, I had a proper handlebar tash. What a twat I must have looked. But I had one of them because my son wanted me to look like Paul Tuttle from American Chopper. If anyone out there remembers that. Cheers, Dave. Thank you very much, mate. Wayne Carl Fortis. Question for both. Who would you snog, marry, or avoid? Famous people only. Oh, wow. What one to end on. Right. Snog, marry, avoid, famous people only. You can go first.
Marry Taylor Swift, snog Angelina Jolie. What was it? Avoid.
Yeah.
Avoid. I just realised I said women. This is weird.
You have said all women, yeah. Interesting. Hope Rocky Monster's not watching this. Maybe. Maybe.
I can't think of any celebrities. David Beckham. I don't know. I don't know who I'd avoid.
You'd avoid David Beckham. You must be the only woman in the planet that would avoid David Beckham.
Oh. Sorry.
If he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it.
I still like football. Sorry. I don't know. It's probably the football part. I don't know.
This is hard. This is hard for a bloke because literally you'd snog, marry, avoid any of them, to be honest. all much of a muchness, you know.
I can't even think of any males.
What about okay, stereotypical ones? What Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt do it for you? No.
Jason Statham.
Okay. I mean, with the greatest respect, he's the total opposite of your husband.
Michael Mahoney. Who? Jason Statham.
Yeah, he's like a Cockney white boy, and your husband is like he's an RAF officer, isn't he?
Yeah, but my husband has a better body than Jason Statham.
I'm not saying anything. But he is a good-looking lad.
Yeah. What was the other one? Oh, Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. He's an interesting soul, him, isn't he? Have you ever heard interviews with him?
No.
I don't know if you listen to Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan's had him on his. Just listen to that chat with Matthew McConaughey. Wow.
Will it ruin it for me, though? Will I no longer like him?
I don't know. I mean, he comes across as a very, I'd say down to earth, but he's also quite out there. He's very, very sort of, I hate this term, but spiritual. You know, he's very worldly thinking. He's not what you would think.
Okay. That might make me.
He's not what I expected. Yeah. He definitely sounded like a bloke that I thought, I'd love to have like a beer and a smoke with him somewhere, just chat about life. That would be. I
wonder what you're going to say then.
Here, anything goes these days. Gee whiz. Right. Anyway, right. That has us got through all the questions, and we've smashed that in under 2 hours.
Mega.
Bloody hell.
Amazing.
God, I hope we haven't battered through that, folks. But I didn't feel like we skipped anything. We sort of went through it all. Oh, awesome. Is there anything you want to plug?
Nah. Other than my channels, come find me. My inbox is always open. Go on a bike, Vanessa Ruck. I'm on all the platforms. What
about these presentations you do with the schools and things? What's that you're doing?
Oh, you know what? Let's plug that. So that's a good one. So I will go into any school in the UK for free and do assemblies and workshops to help basically give something back and inspire these little future generations' minds that the world's going to be okay. And it's kind of my story from the accident through to biking. It's not a motorbike story. but obviously there's motorbikes heavily integrated in it. But it's lots of the lessons that I've learned from my journey, like the importance of goal setting, the importance of your attitude, learning about your mindset, all that kind of stuff. But the really important thing is that I will go into any school for free. It costs the schools absolutely nothing. I take on the full cost myself. It's my way of giving back. I've spoken to over 10,000 students now, 2,500 this year already. But the way that I can afford to do it, because it's not exactly cheap to just go to Leeds for a day and stay in a hotel and do the fuel and everything. The way I can afford to do that is by doing the corporate speaking events. So if you have any links to a corporate organization that might like some kind of motivational, inspirational, resilience, goal setting, diversity, inclusion kind of speaker, drop me a message. There's loads of information on my website. But my goal is to try and speak to 12,000 students this year. So I'm making good progress. This year. So I've done 2,500 already this year. I was at school yesterday.
Amazing. And if people are interested and want to speak to you about that, is the website where they should be going?
Yeah, the best place is if you just search Because I Can Workshops and Vanessa Ruck, you'll find it on my website. There's loads of information on there, and then the schools can email me. The email's on my website. Corporate
awesome.
Speaking, again, best thing is to email me, and of course, my social inbox is there. I just find that my social media inbox is quite busy, so having the dedicated emails just for schools and corporates helps me with my admin.
Absolutely. And all the links will be left down below, folks. So if you listen to the podcast, check out the show notes. If you're watching the vid, have a look at the description. Make sure you give a like, follow, subscribe to all of Vanessa's accounts. Awesome. As always, loved it. Really enjoy having a chat with you, Vanessa. And you're going to be at the ABR this year, aren't you?
I sure am. Wouldn't miss it.
Excellent. I'll have a beer with you there and a catch up. Look forward to seeing what you're up to this year and following along. Thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me. Always a giggle.
No problem at all. Absolutely. Right, folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. As always, keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Men, loved it.